Adrian, thanks for joining us here tonight. We got Andy, Jerry, and Jeremy. Andy, we'll get started with you.
Adrian, you said earlier this week that there would be changes. What went into the volume of changes and where they came from?
Because we've got a huge game again on Saturday. We don't get back in this evening until 3 a.m, and I don't think it's ideal preparation. I didn't want to put them players in the team for an hour or maybe tonight and then take the little bit of sharpness off them. I wanted to give them a few minutes because obviously we haven't trained much the last day or two as well. So that went behind that was behind the reasons of changing it.
Jerry, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
And now.
Well, just what was your analysis of the game and what's your mood after it?
How do you think my mood is, Jerry? You know me well enough. There are certain ways of losing games. I thought that the 3 goals we gave in were, say, poor would be an under-exaggeration. Didn't do well enough to stop the crosses, and then our marking inside the box was really, really poor. And we spoke about it before the game. They like to get the ball wide. They put crosses in the box, and you have to be in certain spots. And we were not in them certain spots. And both goals in the first half come from positions where we knew people would be. But you can only do so much. We told them, you hope that they take it on board. And generally they do. This evening they have not.
Jeremy?
Adrian, 4 shots, none on target tonight. Is it just not having Fragapane and Reynoso in there, or was there something else that led to just a lack of teeth offensively?
No, we between both boxes there was not an awful lot in the game. In fact, I thought we actually moved the ball around well at times. But football's about both boxes. Can you score in one and can you keep them out at the other? Tonight we haven't done enough in one. And we couldn't keep him out at the other. You don't win many games playing like that. I can't remember Dane having a save to make, and we suddenly 2-0 down. And they didn't have to work hard enough. If somebody does a little bit of magic in the box and gets it down and beats somebody and bends it in the top corner, you have to take your hands off. I don't expect people to be able to slide it in the goal in the 6-yard box when we've got 3 men back in our penalty area. Not acceptable.
Andy?
Adrian, on the first goal, is that Allen? Does he need to get in better position there after that Brent header?
Yes.
It is? Okay.
Well, we should have dealt with the first cross, and then Boxy and Allen should have dealt with the second one. Don't think the guy's done an awful lot, has he, to put it in the middle of the goal? Controlled it, moved it to the side, and just rolled it in. And when you've got 2 players around him, But hey, we'll talk about it and we'll go from there.
Jerry, go ahead.
Was it a hand injury for Dane, and do you know any more about it?
Yeah, he dislocated a finger, I think. I think they put it back in, but it was a bit sore, so decided not to take any chances.
Andy?
Adrian, you kind of mentioned that you'll talk about this game. Is it a matter of really using this to go forward, or do you crumple it up and just look ahead to Dallas with what you've done so much of the last couple of months?
No, we'll obviously analyze the game as we always do and see areas where we think we've done okay, areas where we can get better. But obviously, this stage of the season, as I said, we don't get back till 3 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow will be a rest day, and then you're back in on Friday for a game Saturday. So you don't get much time. But we'll analyse it, see if there's some certain stuff that we can come up with, and then we'll obviously freshen the group back up and go with our usual group and see where that leaves us at the weekend.
All right, we'll go with Jeremy and then time for a couple more.
You got more extended outings from Mender Garcia and Jonathan Gonzalez tonight, Adrian. What do you think of their longer performances?
Well, they're still getting to know the group and still getting to know how we want to play. I couldn't fault their efforts. I thought, but it was a tough evening for the both of them. The fact that you're 2-0 down within 10 minutes or whatever it was. So, it was, it will get better for them for sure.
Last one from Jerry. Go ahead.
Did the heat and the altitude play any any effect?
No, no, it's hot, altitude, same for both teams, isn't it?
One more from Andy here. Go ahead, Andy. Last one.
Adrian, we haven't chatted since Monday. Is there anything different with the roster fees closing? Is there any changes you'll make or additions?
No, we'll go with the group we've got.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Hey there, Will. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, no worries.
All
Can
right.
you hear me? Am I muted?
You're all good. Andy, Jeremy, Jerry, remind if you have a question to please raise your hand and make sure that you are unmuted. Jeremy, go ahead.
Well, what's the biggest difference in playing the 4-3-3 versus the 4-2-3-1, like you guys are used to? And how comfortable are you playing in that position with the two other midfielders as opposed to being one of two?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference is just the spaces we occupy in terms of the 2 8s being a little bit more forward, but at times coming lower to help in the buildup. For me, the comfort is fine. Actually, it's a little bit more clear where I can get the ball and pick it up. I just felt like tonight we had sustained possession. What were we really doing with it? Were we being dangerous? Was there any teeth to our attack? And I think we didn't have enough of that tonight.
Jerry, go ahead.
Were the first 2 goals just a matter of positioning or lack thereof?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's positioning, it's execution, it's hunting the ball. It's Gaff said it after the game and at halftime. It's the determination to just not let people easily into our box. And I think both goals were moments where we just took our foot off the pedal that little bit. And these guys put balls in dangerous areas and they finished.
Jeremy, go ahead.
Was that sort of lack of teeth to the attack and that lack of connectivity you were talking about? Is that just due to the fact that, as an 11, you guys hadn't really played much together, obviously with Mender and Jonathan starting, and just maybe that group of guys not getting a lot of time on the pitch together? Is that what you chalk it up to, or is it something else?
Look, there's no excuse for it. I think ultimately we just have to understand what our role is and how we can hurt the opponent. I think we got a little bit, excuse me, caught up in being behind early and forcing things without a high tempo of moving the ball and then getting the ball into dangerous positions. And ultimately, when they're a team that counterattacks, the fullbacks are always going to be a little bit more hesitant to attack. That obviously makes it easier for them in wide positions for overload. So I think ultimately we hurt ourselves by conceding early. Because then we got a little hesitant moving into the attack and opening ourselves up.
Andy, go ahead.
Will, Adrian said that you guys will take this and digest it and watch it and learn from it like you always will. But is it beneficial to, in a way, kind of crumple it up and move on, just given the fact that Dallas is, 2-3 days from now?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lessons to be learned, and there's also the reality of a short turnaround. So the boiled down condensed version is we need to continue to work on box defending and really harping on the positions we take up attacking wise and how we can generate chances. Because against Dallas, it's again an opponent right around us in the table, a difficult game, but it's one at home, and we need to win, and we want to win, and we need to put the best foot forward.
All right, we'll go to Jerry, and then time for a couple more for Will. Jerry?
How are the conditions of the heat and the altitude playing a factor?
You can hear my coughing, can't you, Jerry? So, I mean, it was a warm day, of course, but again, there's no excuse. It's both teams had to deal with it. I think we could have been better, again, managing the game, maintaining possession, but being proactive and not extending ourselves too far, losing the ball in poor areas. Because a game where they're used to the altitude and we're not, and the heat, and it gets open like it was, that makes it more difficult for ourselves. So again, that's an execution point for us.
Jeremy?
Got to play beside Jonathan for an extended period of time tonight. how was it sort of getting that time with him on the pitch, that extended time, and what have you seen from him?
Yeah, I really like Jonah. I think his technical abilities there. He reads the game well. I think he looks to play progressively and break lines, and he takes up good positions. Ultimately, it was his first start, so you could see him working through that. But he's definitely a piece for us that I think will be very important moving forward.
All right, and last one from Andy. Go ahead.
Jeremy stole my question about Jonah there. But when you look at box defending, what do you feel like has been the things that have lagged tonight in that category?
I think a lot of it is, I mean, look, they run into the box with two strikers. Sometimes Savarino was dropping deeper, but when they're in crossing situations, he's in the box. So something we really tried to focus on was me being at the pullback spot and the two center backs trying to deal with runs behind them. And I think, again, it was the two moments where there's maybe a deflection on the second goal, but the first one, it's just about the desire to clear the ball. And we get in just a weird moment. And I know if we go look back at it, we can correct it and do better. Those are just little moments that we have to sharpen up for sure.
All right. Thank you, Will, for joining us tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Will.